Good evening and welcome to podcast number 14. I'm doing a little promotion tonight, as you can see on at Hip Days Lounge. So hopefully some of you will click on the link and you will put your email address. I am not trying to get your email address to send you spam. Believe me, I do not do things like that. I have no clue what to sell you. I just have this extra Woodstock 2 um, CD. I sometimes buy things twice. If no one does this, I'm just going to set up an eBay account and sell it. It's brand new. It's in wrapping. I have my close to home shirt. I think I washed this the second time I've had to rotate. Behind me, I have a new uh, yellow submarine poster. I don't know if it's straight. When my cleaning lady comes, we'll have to check that out. So, but it's rather tall. I had to move my Morrison Hotel poster um, around over. Okay, so what are some of the things? Oh, by the way, so I'm in my podcast room, but I have the door open. It is so hot. Again, they steam the heat into this building, unfortunately. So, what are let me talk about my moratorium. I am looking at my bank account. It's not good. It's been reduced by $5,000. So I had to buy one thing today, so I've moved it 30 days from today. So that means I'm not going to buy anything till March 29th. Every addict says that. Not going to take drinks until tomorrow. No, no, no. Okay, one more drink, and then tomorrow I'll start not drinking. So yeah. But yeah, so 30 days, and so that means I'll probably have less show of these tales. I still got a lot of things I haven't shown you, but so today we're going to go over 11 groups that are better than the Beatles. Okay, so, all right, 11 groups that are better than the Beatles, and then we'll go over some finds. Finds. Okay. So let's start with the 11 groups better than the Beatles. Okay. Now, you might say, how did this evolve or start? So I said to myself, well, the Beatles are obviously the most important group of all time in rock music and popular music. They took, again, rhythm and blues came from African Americans. They came here, and blues music evolved into rhythm and blues, and figures like Chuck Berry and Little Richard, and of course, Fats Domino created this music. And but the Beatles took it and brought it to a place no one else took it, and they extended and expanded it. So the question is, has any group taken the Beatles music and made it better? And in my opinion, no, not even close. Okay, so this guy wrote an article. It was on Fox News, and he said, yes, there's 11. There's 11. Now you might say, how did I come across this article? So there's all kinds of clowns on Twitter saying, oh, Russia's better than the Beatles, Queen's better than the Beatles. So I wanted just to myself to see who are these, does anyone have a list out? And I typed in groups better than the Beatles, and I came across this list. So let's take a look at in my comments on and it'll be on the, I do believe on the, what side is it? I forget. It's on the what side is that? It's I don't even know if I left from the right. The left side, okay, this side, okay. Okay, group number 1, he said, first of these 11 groups is Led Zeppelin, okay. That's a common one I hear. Led Zeppelin is better than the Beatles. Now, okay, so my first take is, what makes a group great? And to me, it's the songs, okay? Great songs, okay? Instrumental virtuosity, Led Zeppelin, yes, okay. Jimmy Page obviously is a better guitarist than George Harrison. The bassist, nah, I think Paul McCartney's better. The drummer, Bonham, generally, but Ringo's a great drummer. You listen to he has a really unique sound. They don't have a rhythm guitarist. You can't hear Lennon. So, and the vocalist, they have a single vocalist, Robert Plant, where the Beatles share amongst four vocalists actually. Ringo's in some songs. So the question is, how would you say who's better? And like to me, I always say it's the songs. What are the songs? I mean, so instrumental virtuosity could break a tie. So to me, the Beatles have at least 200 great songs, and Led Zeppelin maybe 20, maybe 20. Kelly's Last Stand. Stairway to Heaven. Maybe. Okay, so there's no contest here. I mean, so Led Zeppelin came along and they had 200 great songs. I'd say, okay, they made, and then they're better instrument. Jimmy Page, great guitarist. Maybe not even close. Not even the same ballpark. Sorry, Led Zeppelin fans. Not even close. So out. Okay, second group. Okay, the Rolling Stones. Okay, to me, they are the most formidable of these groups. Okay, they would be, to me, the second greatest rock group of all time. Now, could they be better than the Beatles? No. Now, the Rolling Stones might have made 40 good songs, okay? Maybe. Okay, one thing they did, they lasted a lot longer than the Beatles, but after about they made a couple of decent later songs like Undercover and Shattered, but for most of the part, they sucked after certain years. And let's face it, most of their great songs came in the 60s and the early 70s. So, were they as great as the Beatles? And again, I go by songs. To me, it's songs. And, the answer is no. They weren't even close. So, they're out the window. So, there's two groups. Now, let's take a look at the number 3. The Velvet Underground. You gotta be joking. The Velvet Underground was better than the Beatles. Okay. Now, the Velvet Underground, I mean, 100 groups, I don't even think they're the best. The Velvet Underground were not that good. I mean, they came out with some decent songs, Waiting for the Man, Heroin, Venus and Furs, maybe. You gotta be kidding me. Velvet Underground. This guy is on heroin. Which isn't a bad thing, by the way. Okay, number 4 is really, probably better than the Velvet Underground. U2, okay? Not a band group, they're put down by a lot of people. I think, they made a lot of good songs, but one of the bad things about U2, all their songs kind of sounded the same. After you heard their first few albums, War, and they did that The Streets Have No Name type of thing, it's kind of the same thing, with the street, and then it was the same. They couldn't, they didn't go anywhere, they didn't go and they didn't have, they didn't evolve anything. They evolved a little, and it went to the Joshua Tree type thing, and they didn't really evolve. They didn't become anything. They didn't become anything. So to me, you can't even put them in the same conversation with the Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin. You got to be kidding me. Okay, let's see who's number. And number 5 is really laughable. Okay, so someone comes up to you on the street and he says, "You know what? Radiohead is better than the Beatles." To tell you the truth, I don't know one song by Radiohead. Now, I think one time I went on YouTube. And I went to Radiohead. I typed in Radiohead, and I heard a song, and I was like, "This is not good," And this probably was their best song too. I was like, "It's not that good." I remember this guy, an internet guy, thinking into that war, and he almost had me fired from my job. I was a big stupid idiot. He was real because I hated him, and he loved radio. Everything was Radiohead. So I looked up Radiohead, and I thought, this is so good. Everyone's talking. It must be pretty good. And I think they're going to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I heard a couple of songs. I was not impressed, And they're better than the Beatles. One song. You figure, if they were that good, you would hear at least one song by them. And they're better than the Beatles, the most significant band in popular music. I'm talking about classical music, popular music ever. I haven't heard one song by them. Is that me? Am I? Okay, so Radiohead is a joke. Okay, we come to number 6 is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And I like this band a lot. They're a great band. Tom Petty, of course, the band around him, the Heartbreakers, is a great band. But let's face it. They have some really good songs, maybe 20 to 25, and but as good as the better than the Beatles. No, sorry. I mean, wrote some great songs though. I mean, you got to admit. I mean, Refugee, Won't Back Down, American Girl, Even the Losers. That's my favorite song. Even the losers get lucky sometimes. Where's my luck? You know. I mean, so you gotta say that. I mean, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers is definitely better than Radiohead. Definitely better than U2, and definitely better than Velvet Underground. So I pop them up to 3 on this list, but sorry, not better than the Beatles. Okay, now number 7 is my favorite, Rush. Okay, Rush. You only need one album for Rush, Chronicles. That's it. You don't need to buy all their albums because it's all same garbage, you know, the drumming and the writings on the signs and the tenement holes, and the singer's so freaking annoying. That Geddy Lee, I can't stand his singing. I'm sorry. Don't report me to the police. I would be ready to shoot myself. They have a way to torture me. Just put me in a room. They say, "King of all mediums, we need some information." I'm not telling you. Okay. They say, "Okay, we're going to torture you." Oh no, what are you going to do? We're going to make you listen to Rush and Geddy Lee sing continuously for 24 hours. No, I'll tell you. You're going to tell me that Rush is better than the Beatles. And I know some schmucks out there say this all the time on the internet. That's what pissed me off. Oh, by the way, 3 groups that weren't on this list are Metallica, Queen, and Aerosmith. That's what I'm thankful for. This idiot that wrote this list didn't put those 3... the retards didn't put those 3 groups. That's the thankful. Okay, the band. Okay, great group. You know, kind of not that great as it went on to the early 70s, and they went on. They pretty much last 68 to 76, I believe, the last waltz. Very good group, but not the Beatles. So not better than the Beatles. Come on, man. Okay, the Clash. Now, first of all, I hate punk rock. I hate punk rock. It's horrible. And now, are they bad? I listened. They were pretty good. I just don't like punk rock, so they're out. Okay, number 10, a topic of one of my podcasts. Not my Hip Days Lounge. Best Bruce Springsteen song. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Better than the Beatles. No, I don't think so. No. Hey man, you know, you gotta get together, man. What's up with Bruce Springsteen? He's gotten really woke lately. He's always kind, he lives in this big mansion in New Jersey. He's like, I think this Trump is really so. I'm in for the common man. I'm really he's like in this big mansion. He's real. Oh, you're real for the common. I get all those charities. Yeah, because you got billions of dollars. Of course you're gonna. Because if you didn't get for everyone would, I'm the boss, man. I get better than the Beatles. Now, come on. Well, again, I always point to songs. Who rates better songs, the Beatles or Bruce Springsteen? The East Street Band? Come on, no comparison. I mean, for a laugh, it's laughable. I mean, Bruce Springsteen wrote some very good songs. I mean, he's he's up there as an artist. He deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but. No, you can't compare it to the Beatles. I mean, Beatles' worst 100 songs are better than his top 10 songs. Come on, man. Come on. You're just not. You've been laughed at. I mean, okay. Now the funniest one of them all is the Replacements. Okay. All right. It's so funny I dropped my whiteboard. The Replacements. Now, first of all, I've never heard a song by the Replacements. Apparently, they're from somewhere in Minnesota. And I don't know. I mean, have you ever heard a song by the Replacements? I mean, now to me, if you've never heard a song by this group, that's not a good start to be better than the Beatles. I mean, they might be better than Grand Funk Railroad. Maybe, I mean, but to be better than the Beatles, come on, man. This guy, they must have been high on crack when he wrote this. The Beatles. The Replacements. The Replacements. some kind of new wave group, I think. Come on, this guy from Fox. Maybe I'll retweet the article. I have it somewhere in the Hip Days Lounge. I mean, I put "Are you serious?" This guy's not serious. Now, I kind of made my own list of top 11 groups, other bands than the Beatles. So let's say the Beatles. You couldn't listen to the Beatles or something because the Beatles are the bomb. Let's just face it. They're the greatest that was, greatest that are, and the greatest that ever be. Unless someone comes around, and the type of music we have today, I don't think there's ever. I mean, unless four people from the Juilliard School of Music in the Moscow, or all get together and they create some kind of rock music that we've never heard. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. So who do I think is of 11 other bands that are, maybe if they put all their songs together, could compete with the Beatles? That's a good way of looking at it. So let's see. Number one of the best, and by the way, the rest of them kind of not in the right order, but I think the only one that's even in the Beatles league is the Rolling Stones. I mean, especially their 60s work is just really awesome. It's just, they wrote some great songs. Let's Spend the Night Together, Brown Sugar, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Street Fighting Man, Sympathy for the Devil, Can't Always Get What You Want, and the list goes on and on and on. They probably wrote 40 good songs, 40 great songs. So if any group can approach the 200, it's the Rolling Stones, So that's one great group. Okay, now who's number two? The Who. So I'd say of all the groups, the Who's output is pretty impressive. I mean, they had the early stuff, My Generation, a lot of great songs. The Seeker, they had, what was that song? Oh, God, it's skipping my mind. They had a quick one while I was away. They had a bunch, good things. And then they come, and Pete Townsend, I actually should call it the Pete Townsend Band. He's pretty well. The other two are great musicians, and Roger Daltrey could sing pretty good. And he wrote the opera Tommy, which is awesome. Who's Next, of course, one of the greatest albums of all time. Then you had Quadrophenia. They had some other pretty good albums, Who by Numbers. And Pete Townsend, one on his own. He did some awesome work with one of my favorite, is and I just got my ordered it on 8-track tape. It's with Ronnie Lane. Ronnie Lane had multiple sclerosis. I forget the name of the album. I'm getting it. I'll show it to you. It's very great. It's a great song, Street in the City. But it's a great group, The Who, Notice Led Zeppelin's not. I mean, I don't know the ordering, but I don't know what ever since Led Zeppelin. Okay, number 3 on my list is Cream, okay? Now, Cream, unfortunately, and I'm going to add Cream Blind Faith. So we can say they had 5 albums. They had Fresh Cream, Disraeli Gears, Wheels of Fire, that's 3. Goodbye to Cream, which wasn't that great, and then Blind Faith. That's really a Cream album without Jack Bruce, okay? So basically, they were, you listen to those Cream albums, and they were just unbelievably good. Great songs, great. And to me, that makes a great group. To me, they were better than Led Zeppelin. The only problem is they didn't last as long, So Cream, awesome group. Okay, number 4, the Bee Gees. No respect given to this group. What a great group. Early psychedelic power pop converts into in the mid 70s up to like 74, they were 75. They were a hit machine, and they became the disco kings, or the hottest disco groups. Unbelievable, spanning eras. Went into the 80s, kind of laid back. Then it went on the circuit, and unfortunately 2 of the members are now dead, and we only have the best one, Barry. But the other 2 are talented. I think Maurice was more talented than the 2. All right, let's see who's next. Now, the next one's kind of controversial. I say if you have more than one performer, you have a group. So I would say Simon and Garfunkel, who many people, these, they got to be like Queen, they got to be like, no. Simon and Garfunkel is a group, and I'm going to put them, I'm not going to put them necessarily in the 5, but I was just thinking of who would be in my top 10, top 11, and they would definitely be there. They are a great Great songs. Just, I mean, Paul Simon, like a singer in a one-man band, he really was. But Garfunkel had an unbelievable voice, and they just stunning. I mean, I remember I got the greatest hits Simon and Garfunkel, and I listened to Bridge Over Troubled Water. I was crying. It's just such a beautiful song. And okay, number 6, another group that doesn't get their due. The Kinks spanned 3 eras: 60s, 70s, early 80s, unbelievable great group. I've had a survey, and a lot of people, I put 4 songs in there coming out of nowhere with, oh, you got to know this is better. A lot of people secretly are Kinks fans. Now number 7 comes Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin. Oh, okay, great group. I like 1. 2's good. 3 I never could get into. I don't know. 4's great. Then you got House of the Holy, and the rest of kind of like I've never been really big into. I should take a listen. I mean, Physical Graffiti. What's the other one? Presence. Into the Outdoor. Maybe I'll get them when my moratorium is out. Let's see who's next. Oh, Steely Dan, unbelievable. The only issue with Steely Dan, and I did have them higher, if these were real ratings, is they weren't a real group after about the 3rd or 4th album. Brought in sessionmans, Becker and Fagan. I think Fagan was actually the brains. I don't see Becker. I don't know what Becker. I'd love to know which songs Becker wrote, which songs Fagan wrote. Or was it truly a collaboration? I think Fagan, to me, was the brains behind that operation. I don't know. Right? Maybe a Steely Dan, a real, can tell me. Maybe comment. Well, Becker wrote this song, and Fagan. It seems like Fagan was the guy. Maybe Becker had a lot of input. I don't know, but great group. Always been bothered though by the use sessionmans. To me, a real group, you get the like these guys. They didn't use any sessionmen. They didn't have the wrecking crew. Messy, but they played everything. No sessionmen except on the song Phoenix. They used a outside fiddler. I forgot the name. That was the only time they've ever used a sessionman. Also on I'm Your Captain and Loneliness, they used an orchestra. But in terms of like a session man, they didn't bring an outside guitarist in, I mean, the Beatles brought an outside guitarist once. So that's, to me, the mark of a great group. Okay, let's see. Who's next? The Police, very underrated. 5 albums, 5 great albums, right? They're not mentioned. Unbelievably how good these guys are. Sting, great songwriter. Andy Copeland, Stuart Copeland, Andy Summers, who said, Sting, of course, is stealing my songs. He probably was. And Tom Petty of the Heartbreakers, which I've discussed. And, of course, I probably would rate them higher. See, I haven't really put these in the order I like them. The Doors, definitely. They were a great group. And so that's the 11th that I think. Maybe if we could put their songs together, maybe I'll do that. I'll put the best songs of these groups and then compare them. And maybe we'll have a the top 32 of all these groups versus the top 32 of the Beatles, and we'll have a You see, that's how good the Beatles were. You can't compare any group, So what do you think? Comment on this video and tell me, do you think any groups, do you agree with this? Any groups you think should go in this? Do you agree the replacement should be better than the Beatles? Do you think any groups are better than the Beatles? Maybe you do. I'd love to hear from you. Okay. Now let's go to the finds. Okay. First one is okay. So I'm trying to lose weight, and I haven't been doing good, but I'm going to keep trying. The Case for Keto by Gary Tao. So he's written a lot of good books, and his basic position is that there's a few different types. There's basically 3 different schools of thought in dieting, basically. And the most old school of thought is that high carbs, low fat. Okay, that was the Dean Ornish approach. He was the guy that wrote Reversing Heart Disease, so that was very popular with doctors. And then, of course, you had the opposite one, which is the Atkins diet, which has been getting similar, is paleo Paleolithic diets, and that's also been very popular too. That's high fat, low carbs, right? And in the middle is a middle approach, sometimes called the South Beach diet, which says eat about 40% carbs, 30% fat, and 30% protein. So you're moderating each. So I've been trying, because I'm diabetic. Most people now say this is the way to go. I wanted to read his new book, and I've read a few of his books, and I went before on his ideas from 225 to 176. Unfortunately, well, it's been a very short time, but I have been eating low carb, but I have not been losing any weight, but I haven't tracked it yet. So this is the new. I am now starting to track it. Maybe I was heavier, I don't know. So now I'm starting to track it for the first time, and so we'll see what happens. So this is the book. I got it for $17. It lists plus shipping. It lists at $26.95. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. This is an album. The Association. Along Comes Mary. And again, what's beautiful about albums, and it's pretty good condition, it's like 1967, and Alan's coming out. What's beautiful about albums is you get so much. Look what you get on the bottom. This is great. Stereo, you might have gotten something mono, right? You want mono. And look at, you get some liner notes, tells you a little bit about the group, get all the songs, and then it tells you in the front you're going to get 2 hits, and these are great songs. You're going to get Cherish, and you're going to get Along Comes Mary, both really good songs, by the way. And also the other songs I listened to were pretty good, and I have to give it a second listen, because sometimes you do. But I was impressed by the non-hits too. They weren't bad. They had some nice songs, nice melodies. They weren't, of course, as good as Along Comes Mary and Cherish, but they were, interesting. So I was very impressed by this. This is their debut album. Then along comes the Association to play on their hit. Okay. Okay. Now, this is a 8-track tape. Let me see. Oh no, this might need prepare. No good. No bueno. No bueno. Okay, so I'm going to have to repair this. Maybe I'll start with this one. This is the Creedence Clearwater Revival. I think this is their second album, Green River. It comes with the song Green River, Commotion, Cross-Tie Walker, never heard that. Bad Moon Rising, Lodi, 2 great songs. The Nighttime is the Right Time. Tombstone, wrote a song for everyone, Sinister Purpose, and then 2 repeats against 8-track tapes do this to fill out the tape, because they don't have a good balance. You got to have the rest of the tape will be blank. Green River and Bad Moon Rising again. So I want to get. So one thing about CCR, many people just buy Chronicles, and in Chronicles too, you pretty much got everything. But I pretty much want to get, and they're pretty cheap now. You can probably get 8-track tapes, maybe an album or 2. I want to get to all their albums because they're a great group. CCR is one of the great groups, and I want to get all their albums. Known as a single band. Let's see what's behind. Maybe they have some deep cuts. Interesting. Okay, last thing. And I was going to do, okay, I got my weights today. Here's my weights. I was going to show you how to make them a bar out of these. These are, you make them dumbbells. But, one bad thing, though, they're nice. They have these little, very nice screw-ins, very nice set. The only bad thing, of course, by the way, if you're listening from the United Kingdom, again, problem. The metric system. What's this kilograms now? I got to now multiply by 2.2. Great, wonderful. It's a great life. I got to multiply by 2.2. Isn't that great? So now I got to figure out. Well, let's see. One is 1.5 kilogram. Plus 1.5 is 3 kilogram. And then I don't know how much the bar weighs itself. So let's say it's at 2.2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times point 2 is point 0.6. It's 6.6. We'll say 7 kilograms. The bar is point 0.4. I don't know how much the bar weighs. They don't tell you. So we'll say 6, 7 pounds. I know pounds. I don't know kilograms. And then where the hell is that thing? Here it is. So what you could do is, I have 2 dumbbells. I have another one. I'll show you. You could take them and you could take off and screw it into here, and you can make another. Isn't that fascinating? Isn't that great? So today is February 27th. It's a Saturday night, and it's a beautiful day today. So yeah, the show and tell is going to go down little by little. I still got a lot of stuff I haven't showed, but thanks for watching. I hope I'm going to do my contest. I have a very nice prize, kind of a promotion. I want to get more people to at least watch the pod. I think you'll enjoy it. I don't know why no one's watching my podcast. Maybe my face isn't too pretty. I don't know what it is. I'm not that bad, am I? Maybe I am. I don't know what it is. But anyway, I really would, one more. I think you'll enjoy my podcast. About a half hour of your time. What are you going to do in a half hour? Watch some stupid Beverly Hills Wives, what do people do with that? You watch a stupid TV shows. You can learn something. You learn about this. You learn about 8-track tapes. Okay, so have a great evening. There will be no podcast tomorrow because they never have a podcast on Sunday. And we'll have a podcast on Monday. However, I will be cutting down on the podcasts when things, because I will be having the moratorium starting tomorrow, but I will still have some show and tell, and then and then I'll just keep the podcast really short. Just bring a topic every day up. And I still haven't thought of it, but I've had some ideas. Probably the next podcast, I thought talking about what's more important in music, the lyrics or the melody, and interesting how my take on it. So, and we'll talk about that. So, why don't you have a great evening?